Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Have you missed us? We've been gone for a little bit. We've taken a vacation. Well, no, we don't take vacations, but we do, they do take us and put us on a shelf and prepare us for the next episode of Midwich Live. And this is our first one of 2022. I hope everybody had a happy and healthy holiday season. It's been a strange journey from the last time we talked until now, but guess what? We're here. We're all in one piece and we're doing good, I think. Jenny, how are you? How was the holidays?
I'm good. If I'm honest, I'm a little bit weirded out. Nobody from the production team warned us that the music had changed on the countdown. I don't know about you, Chris, but I found that really quite unsettling. It was a new tune. I didn't know it was going to happen, and it was a bit haunting. But
It was
there
very
you go,
it was very
2022.
very X-Files, very
Yeah.
unsolved mysteries. It kind of, if you want to go back to that old type of show, it's
I
maybe
definitely I feel a bit chilled now, but I'm happy that we're back. We've waited right to the end of January to bring you your favorite AV talk show back again in 2022. We're streaming as usual on Midwich's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter socials. Please ask us questions, comment via the chat function, etc. And if you don't get a chance to watch the show in full, you can watch it back on YouTube, or you can listen to us in the podcast format too. So what are we talking about today? We're going to tackle top 5 AV trends for 2022, but not as producty as normal, huh, Chris? It's going to be a bit sort of holistic trends.
absolutely, because we try to be as agnostic as possible. We love our brands. We love the manufacturers we work with, but in general, where these products fit in a bigger picture is what we're looking at. And this is what Jenny kind of specializes in here at Midwich. I just like to read the comic books and come back with weird ideas and say, yes, this is something that may possibly happen. So I resort to Star Wars and Star Trek and see if I can predict any future trends coming along the way. But until then, we do have some real AV tech trends that we have out to talk about. Not only do we have that, but we also want to hear from you and find out if we're on point or if we're kind of, not there yet, or what do you guys think? So your interaction with us and your engagement with us is super important. Please do not hesitate to drop a comment in any of that social channels. We will see it and we can bring you into the conversation. So
Couple of other things that are going to happen. So we caught up earlier in the week with a friend of the show who happened to visit CES in Vegas, which Chris and I sadly did not get to attend this year. So we'll speak to Tim Albright in a little while, and he'll tell us what he saw at CES this year, and also I think tell us a bit of a fib, but we'll let you decide. And we're going to talk about the UK show that Midwich run. I think really one of the only AV trade shows, certainly the largest of its kind in the UK, which is Technology Exposed. We've had to give some new dates as we were going to clash with the new dates from ISE. So it's been a really interesting start to the year for us. But first off, shall we talk about trends?
let's get to it. You got the
So I
first
think
one.
I know. Well, I think the format is I get 3, and Chris has got 2. I'm not sure
Mhm.
why. So I'm gonna run through my 3. In the meantime, we'd love to hear from everybody on what they think about them and what trends you're expecting to see sort of for 2022 and this year. Then we're going to talk to Tim, and then Chris is going to give us the final 2. So my first one, Chris and audience. Have you heard of the term manspreading?
Of- Why did you pick on me?
So
Absolutely, we know what manspreading is. God, it's something that is so awkward for most guys that that don't are not aware that they're doing that. So
so the thing is, right? It's not just men, It's and I'd say man spreading, woman spreading, person spreading, but it's a bit of a bugbear of mine. So pre-pandemic, I used to fly a lot, and most of the businesses that I was visiting were in Europe, so they were all short haul flights. And regularly, I would end up on a sort of middle seat in the row of 3 on an EasyJet or similar. Now, the problem with that is, what is the etiquette of where, who gets which elbow rest, and how does it work? And I have been victim on many an occasion to 2 people either side of me deciding to have both of those armrests, and also, wide spreading their knees apart so that they are uber comfortable, and I am like this for the entire journey. So the reason that I've told you about my experience of man spreading is that it is my core trend for 2022, but instead it is brand spreading, or a friendlier term perhaps, trend spreading. So a lot of what I've been privy to recently is some of the roadmaps that were supposed to be announced at ISE, which of course should have been happening in just over a week's time. And so, I don't want to give any names, because now that we've pushed back, some of those releases have been pushed back as well. But I can tell you that we are going to see cameras from a display manufacturer in the very near future, and not someone who's ever played in this area before. Now, this probably started really early on with Barco, and Chris, you would know a lot about that, when they brought out ClickShare, which was very different to the sort of processing and projection technologies and display technologies we'd seen. ClickShare was very new and a totally new concept, but they weren't spreading into other people's territory as such. This was a very new concept. I think what we're seeing now, and because of the pandemic, people have looked at where there's going to be some growth opportunities, and they've gone and developed products in that area that aren't there. So for us as a provider, honestly, it's horrible, because everybody is stepping on each other's toes and moving into each other's spaces. But it is going to mean that for the end customer, they might reach a point now where they can truly sort of work with a single brand. And for some people, they enjoy that, to have one point of contact and so on, knowing that everything is interoperable and compatible. So brand spreading or trend spreading, that's my number one. Number two. What was my number two? Oh, I know what my number two is. Now, I picked my number two, right, before this wonderful post from an industry colleague that appeared, whose webinar I also attended, which was fantastic, recently, about the Microsoft Teams Room of the future and the likelihood of us moving towards much larger screens and display canvases in the meeting room, and the importance of using Avixa's standards and DISCAS in that to pick the optimum size and resolution of that display based on where the people are going to be sitting. So this is something we've been doing in AV for years, right? That's how we've picked for, say, an auditorium. That's how we've always specified the size of the projection screen or the image or the LED. And there's a lot of talk and hype at the moment on social media about how that's now going to infiltrate the meeting room. And I completely agree. And I think we're probably going to start to move away from that twin screen setup and see some of these big display canvases. But before all of that, my trend was really around custom resolution, because we so regularly now are sitting on a Teams call. You've got a pinned presenter showing some content. Anyone that's using products like Barco ClickShare or the immersive Solstice Pod, where you've got lots of content that you can move around. And then you've got the sort of gallery view of all of the other participants that are remotely joining, and your own camera view, obviously, of those of you that are in your room. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And it doesn't anymore need to be in a set 16:9 aspect ratio. We're no longer just showing a single output from your laptop, which happens to be in that aspect ratio on the screen. We're not showing a film. We're not those restrictions. Really, I think we're going to start to see move, and that's quite good for some of our processing manufacturer friends who perhaps will, for the time being, whilst the intelligence in our sort of core laptop machines and so on, and the displays catches up with it, will rely on those products from Barco and DataPath and similar to help us get there and to make the most of that custom res. So fitting your display to your wall size or your available size, that might be the route forward now, rather than what size can I have based on the ones available from that 16:9 ratio. What have I done? 2? That was 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
3.
You're on a roll.
I am. 3 is the year of the app. And I'm certainly not suggesting that, apps and interactivity through apps is new. But I think we've pressed on this quite a lot when we've talked about retail, when we've talked about corporate in the shows through last year. The pandemic has meant that any of the phone phobes have had to learn how to scan a QR code to place an order. They've had to learn how to scan a QR code to pay. They've had to check in to their venue because of COVID regulations and so on. So, and actually, we saw a big adoption of moving control that was previously on like a communal touchscreen over to your own mobile device, be that an iPad or a phone or a tablet. And so we're good at it. And we've been using our phones for everything. We've gone digital for so much in our lives because we spent so much of the last 2 years in lockdown or unable to go and conduct shopping and business in the normal ways. So I think that we will see that now as almost an integral part of many, many installs. And it will be a case of, okay, and can we include an app? Okay, can somebody interact via their phone if they don't want to use the voice control or they don't want to use the touchscreen? So 2022, the year of the app, the year of custom res, and the year of brand stroke trend spreading. They're the ones for me.
I am super excited. Those three topics, those three trends that you pointed out. Let's just for the audience that's watching, let's just let's put this in perspective. There is a movement on all three of these right now that we've not seen before, simply because with the trend spreading, you've had the ecosystems that have been popular amongst the manufacturers. It's now that much more higher level of ecosystem. It's the all in, the one place to get everything and making sure that everything works. And you can thank the companies that are driving that initiative, like the Zooms and the Microsofts, that want the certified kind of products that everything kind of updates all at once. So you don't have a million products that need a million different updates all at the same time. This trend will continue. And to be honest with you, I think we're going to see things popping into that trend spreading thing that we've not expected before. I can't tell you what that is. My crystal ball is not working. I need to put some AA batteries in it. But once I get that figured out, I will tell you what the new things, or I guess Jenny will be telling you what the new things are with but I love them. I think these three are you're right on point. I think not only are they trends, I think that these are let's word it a little different. It is it's a spoiler. All right. We're not giving you a rumor. We're giving you a spoiler. It's only a matter of time. So how's that? That work?
Fingers crossed. Well, we'll know, won't we? In the January 2023 show, we'll look back and see if anyone did lots of custom res installs, had to build lots of apps, and I don't know, bracket manufacturers might start selling projectors. Who knows?
You never know.
But we did catch up early in the week with a very dear friend of the show, Tim Albright, who had the privilege of attending CES. So he's been to Vegas already this year. The rest of us are waiting patiently until June. Shall we play that interview?
Let's go for it. It's always.
Hi, Tim.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So, Tim, we've just been talking about the top 5 AV trends as Chris and I see it for 2022. We've covered my 3 already. So one of them, Tim, have you heard of man spreading?
Yes.
Okay. So man spreading, where, you're on the airplane and you've got your seats, and instead of worrying about, not getting into other people's seat space, you go with both elbows and both knees out. So I've been talking a little bit about how I think this is the year of brand spreading or trend spreading, because so many of the manufacturers are encroaching on space that's not typically theirs. We've got display guys coming out with cameras and so on. We've talked a bit about the rise of apps in 2022, which I think is going to be a big one. And also there's a lot of talk around the Teams Room of the future now. I think that this is going to drive bigger displays and probably some custom resolutions, because we're just not sort of bound by that 16:9 widescreen aspect ratio anymore. But you've been to CES. So we wanted to talk to you today to see, what did you see at CES? What are the consumer trends? How was the show? Tell us all about it.
So the show itself was smaller than a normal CES, and that's not news necessarily. I mean, the CTA itself said it was around 40,000 attendees, which, just for the math and those keeping score at home, it's about a fourth, 25% of what it normally would be. Usually around 100 to 125,000 people. But the technology was there, right? And I can sit here and take our time making fun of a handful of companies who decided to either not show up or showed up in a really weird way just by not really utilizing their space, but I won't do that. Micro LED is incredible, and it is coming down the pipeline very, very fast. I have long been a proponent and a fan of OLED. I've been waiting on OLED for freaking 20 years to finally come down in price, and I am done. I am putting OLED out to pasture, and I am now in love with micro LED. Both Samsung and a number of other display manufacturers had some pretty slick demonstrations of it. The bezels are just gone, right? There are no bezels anymore, and the size of the displays, the thinness of them. I almost said thickness, but you can't say that because they are so stinking thin. It's ridiculous. The picture quality is out the door. It's really coming into its own. So you've got that coming down the pipeline. You've also got a couple other things happening when it comes to just our space in AV, but also through the consumer part. And that is a number of folks who are taking a look at the home office and the technology and collaboration space. Everybody from Samsung to Canon is getting into this space, as well as a couple of other. Sony is getting into that. So you've got folks that are looking at the office and saying, hey, how can we make it better? How can we make it faster? How can we make your experience, whether you are working remote 100% of the time or you're hybrid, how do we make that experience better for you, whether that's a camera, audio, or what?
Yeah, one of the things that I picked up from CES, and it was an article that I shared even on LinkedIn and a couple of the channels, was they finally figured out that the root of all issues on a work from home or work from anywhere situation starts with the company deployed laptop. And the laptop manufacturers are finally getting to the point where it doesn't have to be an over-the-top gaming device, but you do have to put in a better video card, a little extra horsepower to push some of the devices, because as we go more and more into the USB and the obviously USB-C more than anything else, it really needs the core of everything is going to be pushed by this laptop. So the display has to be better, the cameras have to be better, the audio have to be better. I can hold off on the cameras and the microphone built in. It's a nice to have. Let's start first with the motherboards and the CPUs and the GPU. That kind of stuff is what I am most excited for, that I caught as kind of a side note coming out of CES.
You've also got folks that are, there's two things with that. Number one is USB 3 and USB-C and the power consumption, the power that they're putting into those laptops and those ports. And the other side of that is the ancillary devices, whether that's a dock system that is 100% built in, that allows you to do Teams or Zoom or whatever straight from it, and high powered speaker and audio devices as well as camera devices. So if your laptop doesn't quite have enough or your company doesn't have quite enough in that laptop, you've got these other devices you can kind of slap on to make that experience better.
Did you see more of our sort of core AV brands or tech there this time around? So obviously CES, there's always some crossover, particularly in the displays category, but with the whole home office movement, did it feel a bit more like a pro AV show this time around?
It did not feel like an Infocom or an ISC. There are those companies that certainly cross over. And we've mentioned a lot of them already. LG technically had a booth, and that's one of those where they were technically there. You've also got a number of folks that play in the residential AV market that also were there because of the consumer side. But when you look at companies, the high, the folks that you would typically expect to see at ISE or Infocom, a lot of the top tier ones were not there yet. Now, whether or not they will be in the coming years, who knows? It probably comes down to whether or not CES gets their mojo back and gets the numbers back up above 100,000 folks.
Tim, I got two quick rapid fire questions for you regarding CES and Vegas in general, because my curiosity is piqued. One, this was your first CES.
Yep.
So, and I know that because I texted you, oh my God, this is the first time you're there. What do you think? But more importantly, being that you walked in there a rookie, what caught your eye that CES does differently? Not the organization, but I'm talking about the companies that are there on the show floor. How does the show floor or the attitude of how they present to the customers differs from Infocom? That's the first part. And the other part, just out of my own curiosity, is Vegas back? Because we got to go there in June, and I am hoping and praying that Touristy Vegas is back, because that's going to drive attendance. So
no,
please.
It will. So really quickly, I would say, the sales pitch is different in CES than it is at Infocom or ISE, simply because the purchaser is different, right? And you've got this is not a huge consumer show where you have consumers on the floor. These are buyers that are looking to stock their shelves, or these are folks that are looking at what to where to put different technology. And so it's still technical, right? It's still a little bit high level than walking into a Walgreens or a Target. So that technical aspect is still there. And Vegas, I would say, is probably 75% back. Oddly enough,
75 will do.
Well, yeah, but I'm spending more time in Vegas than I am ever spent on a yearly basis. CES started it off for me, but I'm going back in March. I'm going back in April. I'm going back in June. And I think there's another one in the fall. So I am spending more time in Vegas than I ever have before. So it is getting there, certainly.
So you know what this means. You're taking up Adele's residency. Apparently, this is exactly what's going on. She's
I'm
out.
a little
Tim
pissed
Albright's
off at Adele. I was there last Friday, and her and I were supposed to have a date on Saturday. And she canceled.
I don't know. Do we have to sort of get some sort of caption come up or something to cover us for that? I don't know. Adele's people are going to get
No. She and I had a date Saturday night. She canceled. She sent me a text and said hello from the other side, and we're out.
Somewhere,
Brilliant.
John Green is not happy with this whole conversation. Anyway, thank you, sir, so much for stopping by, Tim. It's always a pleasure to have you come on the show. You're our first guest. You were we waited till the very last possible minute to bring you on prior to in 2021. But look at this. We kick off 2022 with Tim Albright. How can we go wrong? Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. See you soon.
Yep.
Man,
I'm not sure that was entirely truthful.
Well, we got to find out who's got Adele's spot now that she has left the Caesars residency. And I thought Tim was taking his one-man show there, but apparently he's wrong. And no, folks, he did not have a text. That was all in gist, unless you want to call up Tim and find out. But please don't let TMZ know that we mentioned that. But we were excited about what we were seeing coming out of CES to an extent. Obviously, it wasn't the most pro AV show out there, but it's good to see some forms of life, on a trade show, in a big show format, boundaries, and getting back into it. And love to see that Vegas is coming back. So, and before we go any further, I need to say hello to Mr. Ashby. Phil Ashby is watching and giving us thumbs up and stuff like that. And there was a comment from Ashley Mason saying, if you are regarding your manspreading thing, that if you should try having rugby player shoulders. Rugby is not a sport that we follow much here in the U.S., but I'm assuming that means wide shoulders, and you do not want to put that man in a middle seat on an economy class ticket. I would imagine.
Thing is, I would have, I think, a lot of respect for Ashley. It's so easily solved, right? You get one elbow, and everybody should lean to the same side, and then problem solved. So if everyone just goes one way, it doesn't matter how big your shoulders are or are not.
Yep.
It's doable. It's the I'll go both ways and hope nobody says anything. That's what gets me.
Awesome. So I have two trends that I want to get to. I only got two because I drew the short straw and only got two. We tried to divide it up. Jenny wins. I come in second. So she got three. I got two, which makes my life a little easier. But mine probably bleed into others anyway. So my first trend is the experience of the super experience, or the experiential hyper experiential. What I mean by that is people have been kind of locked in their homes and locked away. And yes, people have been traveling and getting here and there, but honestly, things have not been 100% back, right? Take a look at your restaurants. Restaurant menus are still kind of cut back. Shows are, you have to go through all this process to get into a show, and shows have been canceled. I'm not talking about tech shows. I'm talking about live events. I'm talking about plays and the theater and all that sort of stuff. So what I think one of our trends coming back is, I think that people are coming with this pent up aggression. They want the ultimate experience, and they're going to pay for that. And what AV does is, we can play so much into this at this point. So let me give an example. It's not just going to a restaurant anymore, because going to a restaurant has been okay, right? It's now, if you're going to a restaurant, you want to remember that restaurant, and people are going to pay to go to that restaurant for an experience. It's not just eating a steak. It's eating a steak while suspended 30 feet in the air, surrounded by an immersive theater and fans blowing in trade winds to make you feel like you are off the coast of Madagascar. I don't know where it is or what that is going to entail, but I think that you are now going to see a very big demand for the Uber, not the car rides, but the Uber as in much experience. And I think that AV can definitely play a hand in this. And I'm not just serious. I'm just not talking about immersive VR, AR type stuff. I'm talking about a full blown. This was experiential in 2019. This will be experiential in 2020. If you can somehow imagine what that jump is, it's a lot. We'll just leave it at that. You decide what that is. My next trend is the big upgrade. The big upgrade is solely based on the Great Resignation. And it's a topic that is taboo. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, especially companies, right? There's a lot of moving pieces moving around. Some people don't call it or refer to it as the Great Resignation, but actually the Great Shift, as people go from one place to another and change their where they work to meet what they want. So part of this is the big upgrade. And what I mean by that is, there is now going to be a focus on mobility and a focus on the quality of the tech that is being sent out to your employees, that are going to not be working in a desk at any, for 6 days, 7 days, 5 days a week, whatever the old schedules were. So now the push for that upgrade, going back to what Tim said in CES, and one of the things that I said I caught was that laptop manufacturers are going to start upgrading their horsepower in the laptop. That's part of the big upgrade. It's not just going to be the cheapest laptop with an all-in-one video card anymore. It's got to take it to a more robust solution. Not everybody's going to be editing videos. Don't get me wrong. That's not what and nobody's going to be gaming. Well, maybe some people will be gaming. Who knows? I'm sure you can download Galaga and play it all you want. But what I want to get to is that these computers are going to be pushing better quality cameras, executives. I think that people that are going to be permanently based at home need a better setup. I mean, currently right now in front of me, I'm in my kind of test lab area in my house, a kind of for lack of a better term, it's a folding table that I have here with some gear that got sent to me, and I'm trying it out right now. I'm working with a touchscreen monitor. I'm working with a high-end production microphone, right? I have a camera that is under NDA. Why? because it needs to move to the next level. And I think that companies are going to not use technically the technology as an attraction to bring people in. I think it's almost now a necessity to hand people a better quality laptop with all that. And the conversation has been there for the last 2 years of, yes, we do want to have better audio, better video. Here's a better, USB camera, so on and so forth. But I think now we're past that, and now it's expectation. So it's up to you guys what you guys think. Those are our top 5 trends that we have put out there. I hope we hit them right. With the big upgrade and obviously trend spreading and custom resolutions and app technique. You guys can read it. It's all on the screen. But we'd love to hear from you. Let us know which of the 5 is going to be your top number 1. Drop it into one of the chats. We'll get to see it, and we'll definitely mention it on air. So please let us know which one you think has the most, which one has the most horsepower and which one will come out on top at the end of 2022. Not a competition, but, can I win something at some point? I don't get to win all the cool prizes that we give, but at least I can win a little bragging rights. So go ahead, vote on the chat, and we'll move forward.
So, just over a week ago, the UK team had a pretty stressful 48 hours. And I'd imagine actually that most of our audience went through something similar in this desperate attempt to change flights, cancel or change the dates of their hotels, and remake plans, because ISE announced that they would be moving their show to May. Now, 95% of the people that this affected, I'm sure, all said, fantastic, Barcelona in May, what wonderful weather. For Midwich's UK team, however, those dates clashed with our own show that we run in the UK at Ascot Racecourse each year. So we frantically sort of got together. Obviously, most of our 60 partners who support that show, which is a trade show with 60 brands that come and exhibit there. We get sort of 1,500 people plus customers, end users, consultants, etc., to come and look at those products. And it's a great 2-day event with lots of training and so on. But unfortunately, if all of those teams and brands are off exhibiting at ISE, it's difficult to have them represented at the same time in the UK. Also, historically, we've always found that a lot of the stock and elements of the stand build used at ISE then gets used on the European show circuit. So, of course, the same products are required. So we decided not to go head to head with the largest AV show. And we have rescheduled Technology Exposed to take place in October. And we have amended the dates on our little teaser video. So we have that for you now. Dates go in diary now. And of course, if you're not in the UK, you're welcome to join us as well. It's a great show. It's a great location as well. So it'd be wonderful to welcome some of our colleagues from further afield. Now, Chris, could you tell us a little bit about the hashtag AV challenge, please? I keep seeing these calendars and things that people are doing. I was given a task. I had to come up with a superhero AV name for myself for today. And it's not great. So don't judge me. But the best that I came up with was Matrix Girl.
What, the Matrix Girl? Well, you know what? You can do that.
Like a Matrix switch.
Do that fallback thing.
Well, that's what I was going for, because it's sort of like, like I might be a bit magic and be able to do all those sort of weird, flying and jumping in the air. But actually, I meant like a matrix switch, because my background is sort of in connectivity and signal distribution. So I went with Matrix Girl. I know it's poor, but tell us about it. What is this challenge? What is the AV challenge?
First of all, I like the Matrix girl superhero name. There's no judgment here. It's a judgment-free zone. But I can imagine you doing that Matrix fallback thing while everybody's trying to throw you the latest and greatest products, and you're just like, no, that's a copycat. That's another same product that somebody else does, and you're just dodging bullets and
Your
dodging
brand
pitches.
spreading.
So exactly. So all right. So the AV challenge is it's a 30-day challenge. For people that are familiar with the 30-day sit-up challenge, a 30-day push-up challenge, yes, those involve physical activities. And for those that are in the fitness world, you are very familiar with it. But I would say that a good 75% of the AV world has no idea what a sit-up is. I included in that. So I wanted to create a challenge that was non-physical, but very AV centric. So 2 years ago, I got together with a bunch of folks, Frank Paticala and if that was part of it as well, and Mark Coxon and Graham Kirkpatrick and a bunch of other folks. And I said, hey man, I need 30 questions to ask. Now that the irony of it is that I do 5 questions every Sunday, but here I'm looking for 30 questions. And they were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to do a calendar so that we have these like kind of fun things to do. And the downside to, I guess, the downside to ISE moving, obviously, we had to change all this, stuff for Tech Exposed. The positive side for AV Challenge was that there was a big opening now where there is absolutely no news going on. So at this
Nothing
point,
to do.
there's this kind of lull. So everybody's kind of, answering these questions, and for 30 days straight. And that's the whole goal. It's to go 30 days straight of a post. And I'm finding a lot of people that typically don't post on a regular are coming in and posting on a regular. It's turning into almost like a Wordle type thing where people have to show their Wordle thing every day. If you don't know what Wordle is, get on it. It's hashtag Wordle. And if you haven't seen it, I'm sure there's plenty of folks out on the web that will tell you how to play Wordle. It's addicting. But the AV challenge is just that. There is no start. There is a finish. It's to go 30 days straight, and it has a bonus day. So if you want to do 1 month, if the month falls to a day with 30 days, do 30 days. If you want to do 31, do 31. I'm not telling you when to start. I'm not telling you when to finish, but can you post for 30 days straight? So for me, today is day 18, which is great. And the question is, what would be your superhero name? I have 2 because I can't make a decision on my own anymore, it seems like. So I have 2. I have Captain Network with my name, Neto, kind of
Nice.
up kind of in that. And the other one
Mhm.
is, for obvious reasons, the questioner. I'm like the cousin of the Riddler, except I don't ask riddles. I just ask dumb questions, and I bore people with questions. So that's my superpower. I will just keep asking you questions until you walk away. It's the greatest defense is to be on offense with questions. So I'm actually going to post that up onto the Twitter right now. If you guys want, please go ahead and vote at which one you think I should be. Or if you have another idea, let me know. Please, let's keep it PG. If you need to add explicitives before or after the superhero name, that is completely up to you. But we're going to have some fun with it. I challenge everybody to try and post for 30 days. It's a good conversation starter. What it really has become is a way for people that really don't have something to post on a daily basis. You're answering a question. Next thing you know, you're into the habit of posting, whether it's on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, your MySpace. I don't know what you have, but or Facebook. But go ahead and use that because it is it's kind of working you through a social media process. For those that attended the Innovation House Social Media Day, I told you there are things that I can do to help you guys learn how to do social. And a 30-day challenge is one of the easiest ways to get your teams involved. So I've seen everything from companies to playing with it. So instead of just answering it from as a person, they're answering it as their team, or they're asking various people. The day of Show Your Pet, I saw a screen full of dogs, cats, lizards, and weird animals that people like to call their pets at their house in a big old collage. That works. Today's superhero name, call, and find out what everybody's would be in the office. You have thousands of posts if you're that big of a company. Enjoy, have fun, go with it. It's not serious. Don't take it serious, and don't take it literal. Sometimes I've had people that have asked me, like, if one question at one point was go take a picture in front of a body of water. Well, you don't have to go to the shore. Just go find a puddle outside. I don't care. It's the posting. It's the fun. It's the interactivity of it. Enjoy. And, I hope people are having fun with it.
And we've still got what 3 minutes left of the show whilst we show you this week's competition and how to enter. So if you do have any ideas for your own AV superhero names in the spirit of day 18, please post them on the channels that you're watching on, and we should see them crop up here, particularly if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube. We can see your comments in this platform. So this week's competition is to win a £75 Euro Amazon voucher, depending on where you are. And I mean, it's a really, really tough question. It's going to be hard to find the answer. What is the name of Midwich's Experience Centre located in Bracknell, UK? Yeah. And as usual, you can enter at midwich.com/MLComp8, where you'll find all of the terms and conditions online as well. So a quick Google will find you the answer to that question if you don't already know.
Or if your superpower is to go back in time, you can just go back about 2.5 minutes ago when I said I was there in November. So please, use your time wand or whatever fancy Doctor Strange thing you have to control time and go back in time to get the answer and participate and get yourself a prize for doing so.
Awesome. Well, we've had a great first show back, everyone. Really nice to see all the comments from everybody. And we will be returning in February. We're not going to let you know exactly what we're going to be talking about yet, but we will be returning in February towards the end of the month, I believe. And actually, the plan is for me to remove myself from my room of Lego and head down to Innovation House in Bracknell. So I'll be streaming from our Holden built studio in Innovation House for our next Midwich Live. So keep an eye on our socials and we'll let you know very soon what the date will be, and also what the topic will be and which guests we will be welcoming onto the next Midwich Live.
I love the mystery part of this show. That's the best part. I don't like telling anybody what we're doing next because it is the mystery that makes them want to come back. I hope that's why they want to do it. But yes, in the same vein as Jenny, I will be returning back to my office as opposed to this top secret lair that I've been working in. More of a dungeon. I got a window here to the side, so you see a little bit of light coming in. It's not really good for lighting, but I'm trying, folks. My name's Chris Neto. I am the market development manager at Starin. You can find me across the socials at Chris_Neto on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Connect with me. I'm there. I'm doing AV Challenge. If you want to look at the AV Challenge, it's #AV Challenge. You'll find all the posts that are part of that. You can find me on Sundays asking 5 questions. If your weekly 1 question a day doesn't annoy you enough, yes, my superhero name, the questioner, if that becomes it, will be proven on Sunday when I do my 5 questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and thank you so much for watching. Jenny, where can we find out more information about you? Where are you at on the socials these days?
So I dip in and out every now and again, but you can find me on LinkedIn by searching Jenny Hicks, or you can reach me via Twitter. I'm at Midwich Jenny, or perhaps I'll have to change that handle and switch up to Matrix Girl. We'll see how that one goes down. But great to be back, everyone, and thanks for all of your feedback. We'd love to, anyone watching this on the on-demand platform, please continue to comment, because then we get to see all of your AV trends and what you think of ours, and that's really interesting for us. And any feedback to help us pick what other shows we can map out for the rest of the year. So happy New Year, everyone. And thanks so much for joining us. See you again.